consciousness. Brought to you by Forever Family Foundation. On the web at foreverfamilyfoundation.org.
I call your name. The echo is haunting. The echo is always the same. I call your name. The echo is haunting. An echo can never be changed. So I call your name.
We'd like to welcome you too. This is Kim Saavedra, director of the Kovacs Center, and Betty Kovacs, author of The Miracle of Death, There is Nothing But Life, and Merchants of Light, the consciousness that is changing the world, as well as the wonderful Forever Family certified medium, Janet Mayer, and author of Spirits, They Are Present, are all here to welcome you to our once a month show about your personal, intimate, meaningful, beautiful experiences. And we can talk about things that you can't talk about just anywhere. And we like to explore things that you have experienced that defy mainstream thinking. And we would like you to join us as we do so. We can look at what they mean and how we can integrate them into our daily lives. And I'm looking at something that Janet had said about 3 years ago, a little bit more. And she had said that it's a conversation about spiritual practices, about being centered and grounded and open to receiving messages in any form from our loved ones. So please get your pen and paper handy, because I want to give you the 2 call-in numbers so you can help make this show as beautiful and meaningful and helpful to other people and share in our deep and meaningful conversation. So 888-627-6008 and 323-744-4831. And I'm really happy to be back with Janet and Betty this month as we have our conversations with you.
Yes. Welcome back, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you. How have you been, Janet?
I've been doing well. And I found it really interesting what you just brought up about the spiritual practices, because one of my main thoughts today when I was thinking about tonight and, making a couple notes myself, and I have not talked to you about any of this, but it had to do with when you do have, something come through to you from a loved one, and whether it would be a vision, or you see them, or you feel them, or you hear them, or whatever it may be, that to hold on to that energy as long as you can, or if it goes away right away, then just kind of sit in that space and absorb it and feel it and think about it, so that when it happens again, you catch it quicker, or you'll catch it like if you're out, let's say you're out and about with a bunch of people and you're thinking of, a loved one, and something comes through and all of a sudden you get that feel and boom. So then you have that same feeling, even though it might be a different circumstance, you have that same feeling. It's still another way and another validation that your loved ones continue to be around you. So that was one of my main thoughts for the day. But
I think that's good.
Oh, that's so great.
Do I see a caller?
We have Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, good. How are you?
Oh, I'm breaking up. Can you hear me?
Yes,
yes, we can. Yes. Go ahead, please,
I'm
Jen.
sorry. I'd like to talk to Spirit, if that's possible. Connect with Spirit.
No, these are stories. Tonight's show is stories that you want to share about, and maybe something that happened around you from a loved one that might have come through in some way, and you have a story to share with us. Do you have anything like that?
I understand. I'm sorry. I understand. Are you there?
Yes, we're here. If you want to share a story, I mean, if something, you feel like you had a connection,
I do. Well, I do. I was wondering if it's possible to have Spirit come and lay next to you in bed and, share energy.
Yeah, that happens often. People say that all the time. That happens with people and with animals, that you'll be in bed and they may come next to you and you may feel them, either, they may touch you in some way. You might feel their energy around you. And when that happens, I mean, that's, obviously usually a loved one, and they're coming to connect with you. And, I think that is a very deep and personal experience.
Yes, and you're quite right, Janet. It happens a lot. So tell us your story, Lisa, with that.
I appreciate you letting me share and let me get through. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care, Lisa.
Thank you. Yeah. No, and that's true. That can happen with loved ones. And like I said, it's happened with loved ones that, I've heard from people and also from animals that, will jump up on the bed and after they're, deceased, and it brings comfort to them and love. And I think that, it is a very valid, people are just like, oh my gosh, I think I felt that. And, it can freak people out. I understand that. I mean, some people may jump when that happens, but some people might instantly know that, oh my gosh, it's, a loved one coming through to me, and, I'm just going to enjoy that energy. And then when it goes off, it's kind of like, okay, I was just, I got to enjoy their energy.
Right.
Yeah. Or who was it? Someone had called in about her husband came and sat down on the bed and talked to her, and the indentation was there in the
mattress.
Comforter,
Yeah. Oh my God.
Right. Well, think about it. I mean, that at that time, you're relaxed, you're open, your mind is open, you're relaxed, you're, in a space that sometimes if you're busy all day and going 90 miles an hour, going here, going there, your brain is, going on hyperspeed. Well, when you go to sleep, maybe that's the one time when somebody can come through and give you a message, is when you're very relaxed and you're calm and you're open and you have that space that is your personal space. And then that's, they can come through that way often a lot easier than during the day when, it's kind of like knock, 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 and you can't hear because you're going, in every direction. So yeah, I feel like that's very common from, I can't say it's very common, but it does happen. So yes, it does happen.
Yeah, it does. I have never had that happen, in that way. It's like I would feel the energy in the room and I know who it is. And there's kind of like a communication mentally, but not that touching or presence, in that way of close up.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, just think it happens so many different ways for different people.
And every one of them is special.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Unique, it's special, and however common or not it is. I mean, you want to say, yes, it happens. Oh, it happens a lot, so that you're not the only one. And yes, it's real. It's real.
Right. Well, and I always laugh about. I have a story in my book that happened a long time ago. It was over 30 years ago, and back in the day when my son was a baby and they slept on their stomach, way back when, and I would scratch his back every single night and sing to him. And, he was in a crib and I was rubbing his back one night and I was just hanging over the crib and I was so tired. I was so exhausted from the day. It was just one of those days where, everything was going on. And as I'm scratching his back, I'm like, I just, out of the blue, I just said, I wish somebody would scratch my back. And with that, somebody did.
Oh, wow.
And I literally, 1 minute I was at the bed and the next I was out in the hall. And I'm like, I'm
checking out who that was.
Oh my gosh, it just happened. They just, and it was it was comical when I look back on it. But at the time, it was someone who cared about me and they loved me and they wanted to give me something too. And it was just, it was one of those things that to this day, I still think, oh my gosh, I cannot believe it happened. And I know it happened and it was beautiful. And it I laugh because, you're just exhausted and you're just, you're rubbing the little baby's back and you're singing and you're like, oh, I just wish somebody would rub mine. And that happened. And it was just so, it's a moment that there's so many moments that you just don't forget. And I think that's with a lot of the callers that are the people, the stories. It happened and they feel it. They're never going to not remember that. And it's so clear, or they can feel that touch still, or they can hear that voice. And it's just really beautiful. And I think that, when that happened to me, it just stuck with me forever. And to this day, I'm still like, okay, do I dare say I wish somebody would rub my back?
Yeah, they might
Or
grow
do I
up.
just do it, you know?
But when I hear your stories, Janet, I often think that that's the way it is going to be. We're going to create such a close relationship with the other dimension that it can respond to us easily like that.
In real time.
In real time, yes. And
Right.
that, now it's just everything's so unbelievable to us, and we're having a hard time reconnecting to the other dimension after centuries of being told there was no such thing anyway, so don't try to connect to nothing. That I think that we're reconstructing that. And that would be a really, beautiful kind of thing. I think we'll be always connecting in that way with that other dimension.
Mm-hmm. Well, and on top of that, Betty, it's not only we're connecting with them, but they're in the present. They're not in our past. I mean, yes, there's moments of our past with them, but they're still in the present also. And so, the time we're thinking, well, they're no longer here. It was this, and now it's the present. So, I think we have a caller here.
Oh, we do. Hi, Deb from Houston. Thank you for calling.
Hi there. This is getting close to my son's birthday, and so it's always kind of a semi-sad time for me. And but my son has stepped it up. He always gives us awesome signs. And I was feeling a little bit low the other day, and my sister-in-law sent me a text and said, "Hey, I don't know if you need a pick-me-up, but Dean just gave me a great sign." And she sent me this video, and in it she said that she had gone over to her bookshelf to get something, and on this bookshelf there are pictures, including one of our son. And she said, "Hi, Dean," and then turned around and started walking back to the kitchen. And then she caught out of the corner of her eye this little stereo system that she has, and it started flashing the words "hello," and she actually got a video.
Oh, wow. I love it.
That's
pretty wonderful.
You don't hear that every day.
No,
it was pretty amazing, and it's awesome to have the video as well.
Yes,
absolutely.
He's a good communicator.
That's really
a great communicator.
You think of ways they are trying to get in touch with us. That's so amazing.
That is good.
How clever and creative they have to be.
Wow. Yeah. I love it too that she was paying attention, that she caught that,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's this little stereo blinks a lot, but she's never noticed it say that hello before, and so she thought that was just pretty cool. And then the next morning, I usually get up and I walk in the mornings, and it's awfully hot in Houston, so I usually get up at 6 or so and walk before sunrise, but I decided to not do that and that day, and I fell back asleep, and I had a little mini dream visitation by Dean where he just kind of popped up and gave me a hug, which was lovely. But of course, being the human brain, I thought, okay, well, was that really you, Dean? And just then we noticed that a couple of little Carolina wrens, which are are a little sign from Dean right now, had gotten inside our screen enclosure by our swimming pool. So it's like there's, one tiny hole, and so not exactly sure how two little Carolina wrens could have gotten inside, but that was my confirmation from him that, yes, of course it was me, Mom.
Oh, that's so good. That is so good.
Yeah. I think that's great. And it's cool because you're open, and it's not like, even, sure, everybody questions, well, could it be that? But it's like, you already know that you did get it. And then it's just like a second validation. And I've always been big on like a double validation. I love a validation. And then sometimes when something else happens, it's like, oh, wow, okay, I definitely need to pay attention. And I think that's what, he was making sure. He wanted you to definitely pay attention. You were getting that hug, and he wants you to know you were getting that hug, and I think that, that was not only was it important to you, it was important to him, And, sometimes we forget about that. We think, oh, it's only for us, but it's also for them. You're communicating. So that's important to remember too, is like, well, of course I'm going to, I accept that hug, okay, I'm going with it. And, any other time you want to give me something, I'm going to pay attention. And it's not like it's going to be happening constantly every day, but you feel it, you have that sense. And it's just this innate sense that we all have that we question because of the way we were raised or what we were, taught to believe. And when you're open and something like this happens, losing your son, it's almost like you're experiencing this whole new world that, oh my gosh, now what? This is not, what I ever thought would happen. And what do I do? And okay, I'm just going to be open. And so it almost makes you more open than what you would have thought you could do, because now you're like, yeah, anything goes if you want to come through. So it does leave the door open for them to come through stronger, and I think that is really great, because he is sending you multiple signs and you're getting them. Your sister or sister-in-law is getting them, and you're experiencing that and saying, okay, this is great. And, keep, let them come whenever you need to. And so I think that's beautiful that, you're really aware of it.
Yeah, I'm very grateful and happy that he's such a good communicator and that I'm open to it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Makes the birthday time a little bit easier to bear.
100%. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
We're grateful you called in, Deb. Thank you so much for sharing those beautiful, beautiful stories.
And I think, Janet, that's an important point, that this communication is as important to those on the other side as it is for us here.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very important that we keep that in mind, that they want to make that communication. I always think of a medium saying that, like they're going to try to get in touch with somebody. And then especially when it's a group, and that there's so many people crowding there on the other side to get through. So I guess that not enough of us are open enough that they can get through. And it's so important to them.
Yeah. Well, and there's a thing too that I've always felt, and it's just my own personal experience of what I see, is sometimes I feel like when you're really going through something and your energy is a little different, it's, you're going through something that's a little more difficult, like a birthday's coming around, or there's an anniversary, or, it could be the day of the passing or something, or the birth, or whatever it may be. It's, sometimes I think there's a little bit stronger light we put out of this energy. And it could be energy, it could be vibration, it could be light, whatever you would like to call it. And I think that goes out of us. And I think that, our loved ones see that and they feel that. And it's almost like a little bell goes off, ding, ding. Oh, here comes somebody. And, it's like, okay, if they're coming through, if we're having a moment and they get that, they see that, that's when they also want to send us something. And so I, stay open to that as well. I mean, sure, it can happen at any time. Don't get me wrong. They can come through at any time. But I also feel like sometimes when, people say, well, I really want them to come through. I really want them. Well, they're spending so much time wanting them to come through that they're not moving forward in life. And if they move forward a little, that is opening that door and that space to allow more energy to come in. And so that kind of like breaks up the static a little bit, I think. And then that allows them to come through. And then, and then it kind of gives you like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I see it.
Yeah. Well, and I think too that, it's so important that those we love who have gone now to the other side, that they can get in touch with us. We're open to it. Because I think also so many people talk about the fact that on the other side, they see the larger picture of what we're involved in on the planet. And we're creative beings and co-creative beings. And I think that they want to be able to establish communication and help us to see the larger picture so that we can truly live our lives and co-create with the other dimension in a healing way for the whole web of life, not just for ourselves or for human beings, but for the whole web of life. I think that on the other side, they can have that vision and they want to help us to see it. So I think that, once we've established that the door is open, then we can sort of leave ourselves open to receiving from them a larger vision.
Right. I agree, Betty. I agree. That's cool.
Go ahead, Janice.
No, I was just going to say, I think we have another caller.
We do. Good evening, Carolyn.
Hi. I'm calling from Maine.
Hi.
And
Wonderful.
I first lost a brother when he was 21 in an accident. And 15 years later, I lost my 14-year-old son in an accident. And I'm telling you, so many things happened that were just impossible to explain. There was no context for understanding them, but starting with my brother, 2 nights after he died, my sister and I were getting into a car, and it was his voice. It was like he sat down next to me in the car and said, "Carolyn, tell everybody I'm okay." And I thought to myself, all right. So when I got home, I told my mother, I said, "Michael told me to tell you he's okay." It was just so,
wow.
She didn't question it. She said, "Oh, thank you."
Oh, wow. That's nice.
That's good. She didn't question it.
Wow. I had other experiences after my son died that were, some of them didn't involve me. They were things other people reported to me. I remember my next across the street neighbor said he was sitting in front of his house one night listening to, I was playing the piano because when people die, I become more musical. But he said that he felt a huge feeling of my son. His name was James, and he said his dad came down the street in his car, pulled in the driveway, got out of the car and said, "I feel James."
Oh my gosh.
And I thought, wow.
Oh.
Just so many dreams. Just dreams that were helpful and beautiful that helped me. Believe me, I was in such deep grieving. I didn't handle it well, even with my other children, but it's hard to lose a child. It's really hard.
Well, and you have to kind of,
I appreciate. I'm trying to think of like Betty. I got introduced to this realm of you and your work and the people you work with through Jeffrey Mishlev's channel on YouTube. But I'm glad I did, because I've spent a lot of time watching your talks and the talks with Ann Baring that I've found enormously helpful. Just great teachings. And thank you.
Oh, well, you're so welcome, and thank you for telling us that. It's I think
there's more. There's more, but I'm sure there are other people who want to.
Feel free, Carolyn.
Yeah, tell us something.
Yeah, tell us more.
Oh well, gosh, I was just suffering so much after my son died, and I had a dream one night where I was in a gymnasium and there was a bluebird flying around. It was trapped in the gymnasium, so I struggled to catch it and set it free, and then I kind of got myself a dream book and looked up the symbolism of bluebirds, and it said that they represented spirits. But I was hanging on so tight. I had another dream that my son came to me in a dream, and he was sort of crying, and he said, "Say my name, say my name." We were in so much pain, we couldn't. We couldn't. We were just, we just couldn't do that. So that was, I had another dream that I was under the, sort of like drowning in the ocean, and he came up from the bottom of the ocean with a canoe. We used to canoe all the time, and he took my husband and I back to the surface in the canoe. Just so many experiences that when I would wake up in the morning, I'd know that they were messages. And but it's hard to lose kids. And then I think people don't lose children the way they used to. Kids used to die a lot more than they do now. It's usually now accident or things or
Go ahead, Karen.
Yeah, there's kind of no. You don't know a lot of people who've been through it when it happens. Unexpected, it's a complete surprise. You get a phone call,
Yeah, those are
So,
the everybody fears happening, that call will come or policeman at the door, that kind of thing.
right.
But,
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah, I've survived. I mean, looking back on it, I feel like my son was a huge teacher for me because I wasn't, I was raised Catholic, but I was not involved. I wasn't spiritual, but it turned me into it sort of opened me to all of it,
They pull us to the other side, that's for sure. Our attention is 100% focused on the other side. And I feel the same way.
Yeah. And so it's been if life is a classroom, wow, grad school.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So,
well,
thank you, ladies, and I'm glad I tuned into your show, and thank you, Betty, for all your fine work. And
thank you.
And all of you other ladies I'm not familiar with, but I'm sure you're equally as wonderful. And I'll have to check you out.
Betty's much more wonderful. Betty is a wonderful teacher. She's definitely, and Betty, you definitely have, similarities. I think with Caroline, you have had loss and you understand that call and the accidents. And so I know that, that probably you can feel that as deeply.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
But I so agree with you that they become our teachers. We really do learn in a way that we could not think any other way. And for that, I am grateful.
I'm grateful. I can't imagine him back. I just can't imagine. It's been 15 years, so it's been so long, but it's a lesson I didn't want, but
Yeah, you think you won't?
So pretty powerful.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and they can drop in at any time. My grandmother did come like 20 years later to give me a message. So they can drop in when they need to, or if you need it, or, it's amazing how that works. But, they also, they have their own,
Yeah. Does anybody, with my brother and with my son, I felt like there was, it became less as time went on. It was very intense at the beginning. It seemed like a lot of things happened that were just impossible to explain, a lot at the beginning. And then it kind of settled down. It sort of, it almost dissipated, it's a very strange experience. But I think somebody said, I don't know which of you said it, but that our energy changes when that happens to us, that we're almost more open.
Yes, yes. And that's definitely true. You become, I don't want to say you become a different person, but you open up to an area you never thought was possible, you know? Yeah. And I think that does happen. So I think that, with you, maybe that did change and the energy changed, but it also doesn't mean that not around anymore. He's still, around in his own way, but, you have opened up in a new direction that you never thought would happen, obviously.
Yeah, I've had true. Well, thank you so much. And I'll hang up and listen to other people. I'll listen to you on the internet because it's easier. The phone's a funny connection from me anyway. I'm up in the woods. Thank you and goodbye. Take care.
You too. There's not someone else. I was thinking, that many people do feel that tremendous communication in the beginning when we so desperately need it, and that it does change with time. And I think that in my own case, I feel that it's more intuitive now, I thought, well, it wouldn't be bad at all just to have someone kind of appear in a light form and talk to me. But in the beginning, there was real communication back and forth, even though it was energy. I knew where the energy was. I didn't see a form. But now I feel that the contact is basically intuitive, So it does change, and it changes in different ways for different people,
Exactly, Betty. I was just thinking the same thing, that it doesn't mean that, what one person has is what everybody is going to have. Everybody has it in their own way. We're all individual and we all have different loved ones, different experiences. So of course we're going to see or feel or hear something differently. And I think that it's important to recognize that if somebody says, oh, well, I didn't have that happen, it's like, well, that's okay. You will have something different, when the time comes, it will be something different. And, if it's not the same thing, it doesn't mean it's not right. It just means it's different. It's that simple.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Variety is the spice of life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in all things.
Creative beings. And when we're here, we talk and communicate in different ways with different people. And so it's certainly the case from the other side as well.
That's right.
I'm ready to say something here.
Kim, you going to share the number again?
Yes. 888-627-6008 or 323-744-4831 are the means by which you can call and share a story, ask a question, respond to something someone else had said, share something that means something to you in this domain that we're discussing.
Well, we're waiting for someone to call. I was just remembering an out-of-body experience that my son had probably in the year before he died, before he passed. And it was, it's very interesting. He said that he was in another world, but it was very similar to this one. Everything was very similar, but there it was much more lush and balanced and beautiful. And he said that he realized that all of us, what we're doing here is working to create that world here in this present place, that a world that is where we love and we know the power of love, where it is balanced, and it just changes the whole feeling and atmosphere of what we're doing. And he was very impressed with the dream. Really changed him, I think. He said, Mom, what we're doing here is trying to create that world here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's
and then
beautiful.
when they do pass over, then they want to try to help us to do that,
Right. Well, and they also know that, I did a EVP session a long time ago that, and that's electronic voice phenomenon. Some people call it ITC. And one of the things that came through, I had just asked a question about, well, where are you? And I was trying to figure out, like, I know they're coming through. I know I have voices coming through and, on the, in the computer and that. And when I went back to listen to it, because I had to have headphones and, you have to change the sound. So, you have to turn it up so you can hear it. And they put, we are in your world. And, I was just like,
doesn't it?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it just really hit me. We are in your world. And I thought, wow.
Oh,
yeah, it's kind of...
I love that. It just, I don't know, it really does make you, just putting it in that way makes it so,
Right.
Well, and it also speaks to the fact that there is no separation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're so wound up with separation. That world,
and the
this
language.
world. I'm using that language
The
of that world, this
physical
world.
descriptions.
Yeah.
Well, or even like when they look up to the sky, I'm like, don't look up there. They're right in front of you. They're right there next to you.
That's what you're trying to say with your book's title. They are here.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that came through in the I'm not sure if it was the Yanomami or the Funio language, or it could be Chicano, but it came through when I was speaking the languages, and when I had it translated, that's one of the things they said. They were like, we are present, they are present. And so it was kind of like, okay, so I need to, make sure I acknowledge that. And that's why that's the title of the book, which, some people have, long titles, short titles. That's what mine was, the spirits, they are present. And they wanted to let us know that they are present and they are with us. And we just need to remember that. And so, if we remind ourselves that our loved ones are in the present and they're not in the past. I mean, there's memories in the past, but they still exist in our present. They are just in a different space. Then you can still have conversations with them. I know some people are like, well, I don't want you to think I'm odd, but I talk to so-and-so. And I'm like, I don't think that's odd at all. I think that's beautiful, that you're acknowledging a loved one, and letting them know that you still think of them or saying, oh, hey, did you see that? I'll do that sometimes to somebody who's passed recently and be like, oh, did you see that? Did you see what just happened?
Well,
Yeah, it's right there. But
well, as they say, and as we know in the visionary world, it's very clear to us that there is only now in the universe. Everything is happening now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so hard for our linear minds to perceive, but it is now. And all of the dimensions, I love the image that some quantum physicists now use to say that we are manifestations of the Big Bang, or as Jude Currivan says, the Big Whisper, that we are manifestations. We're all that. We're part of that. We are that, and we are co-creators with it. And then there is the image of I think I've tried to explain this before and probably didn't do too good a job, but I love the image is that we're like a Russian set of dolls, all, inserted in each other, except this you can't really take apart. And it is like starting from the atom to the human, to the earth, to the solar system, to the cosmos. And we are all a part of that intricate set of dolls. And it's a hologram, so that at every point, all information is available. It's not like it's, where we're saying I speak of it in the other dimension, but that other dimension is right here. And at every point in reality, in the cosmos, that information within that hologram is available to us. And we're learning how to open up to it. But I think when we really can open up to it, we'll go gangbusters. I mean, it would be so phenomenal to realize this information is there and we can open to it and co-create a world that we truly want to leave to our children.
Right. That's beautiful, Betty.
I love that. I read that in Joseph Chilton Pierce, and I've just loved that image since that. And also Jude Currivan, not the Russian set of dolls, but the fact that from the atom all the way to the cosmos, that we are an integral part of that universe. And that we went through a period saying, oh, well, it was fine. We had to separate from nature and develop the left brain, the rational self. Well, actually, we cannot evolve if we separate from nature, the very nature that we are. Who was it? I think it was, I can't remember the name, Haridas Chaudhuri, who said, that everything, even their deepest desires, are coming into us out of that integral structure of the universe, the essential structure of the universe. We have these ideas because we are part of that integrated structure. And we're so much more than we've ever been able to realize.
I think that quote was our deepest aspirations are related to the essential structure of the universe.
Right. Oh, I always can
said Betty in the book, and I remembered it.
That the deepest that's wonderful. Our deepest aspirations, those deep desires and longings, are actually
related to the essential structure of the universe. Meaning, if you long to be connected, it's because we're supposed to be connected because we are connected.
Yeah, right. And it is what the universe longs for us to communicate with those we love on the other side.
Well, and we've always had the intuition. Everybody has it. Everybody can have that connection. I think culture has blocked it in so many ways that people think they don't have it, or they shouldn't have it, or they don't have it as good as, person A or as person B. And I think what it is to remind everyone that they do have it, and that you can connect with your loved one on so many levels, in so many ways. And, it's kind of endless, like the universe.
And yet, then it's not only that that we have it, it's that we are it. I can remember hearing Alan Watts. He was alive when I was younger, and it was just wonderful to hear him speak. It was like I was learning all these things. And I remember on my 30th birthday, my husband took me to hear him. I think he might have left me there and gone somewhere else while I was there. But it was just wonderful to, for him to say, when, you look at children, like, who do you think you are? And he said, well, they should answer. I'm Shiva. Thank you. And he would say, you are it. And we are it. But to have that realization that we are an integral, cannot be separated part of the universe is so important, because we've been told that we're separated, we're a fluke, and that when we're dead, we're dead. That's all wrong. And quantum physics has shown that it is absolutely wrong. But so many people are still caught in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
It's a lonely place to be. It's a lonely place to be. And a world cannot be healthy thinking that way. And we are, all of these people who call in and who are working on this are doing our best to try to change that, as those on the other side want us to.
Right. I do think that. I think that that's why, too, like, people need to call in just for, validation for their own, their own sense. They know it, but sometimes to get that extra validation and to remind them that, if somebody, kind of dishes it or says, oh, it's just this, it's like, well, that might be your experience, but it wasn't mine. And my experience is personal, and it did happen this way. And I'm just sticking to that, and there's no boundaries. I think that, people try to put you in a little box and say, well, you have to do this or believe that way. And it really doesn't work that way, and I found that out, kind of very at a young age, that I was seeing things, when I was small, and I didn't understand it. And back then I was afraid, because I didn't know what it was. I didn't, even though what I saw, like the first time was, I could see my dad standing in the doorway, but I could see through him. And, I'm screaming, not understanding what I'm seeing, that he's a ghost. And, I come to find out he was alive. It just, he had an out of body experience. Well, when you're 5, you're kind of like, what's going on? So, it's like, I knew from from a young age that there was a lot more happening in our world that people didn't talk about. And I was raised Catholic, and, you had those certain beliefs, and that you don't believe this because, you weren't, somebody important that was in the Bible. And it just would always throw me about right and left. How would I, what direction do I go in? And I think my faith also helped me, though, in the sense of having a belief that there was more out there, that there was something going on. And even though people didn't understand it, even though I didn't understand it, and a lot of people, around me, it didn't make it not so. So once I realized, as I got older, all these things happening, I think that kind of taught me, okay, there's a lot more going on here. People need to know this. People need to understand. And then when somebody would have an experience and somebody would cut it down, you're like, no, it's like it really is happening. So, yeah.
Well, and certainly I felt that, and it's true, that our culture, in its materialistic attitudes, has a way of diminishing every possible miraculous event. It's never can be seen as that, but it's reduced down to nothing. Oh, well, it's just a coincidence, or it's just that just happened, or you're just so it's also true in the academic world, is that when you read about something in a culture that was phenomenal, right away the scholars get on it and reduce it to nothing. That is part of a materialistic worldview, and we're not really to blame for it. It's just important that we recognize that in our culture and ourselves, and look for the miraculous, because a miracle is really just, it's something that happens. It's beyond our understanding of the laws of nature. Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, and I mean, just the stories from who called in tonight, the people that called in, they're like you said, they're miraculous. It's amazing to think about when you sit and think about what these people experienced. Somebody could be like, oh, that's a great story. And you're like, no, that is an amazing story. That is, for that to happen, and for it to happen to so many people, and who says something, who doesn't, because they're afraid of it. It's like, let that go. Just enjoy that experience that you received from a loved one, and, go with it, and just say, okay, I'm open to the next one. I'm open to whatever's going to happen next. If you have something you want to show me or tell me, I'm open, and I think that, that really opens the door too. And, you can ask for a sign, or you can, live your life and when something's going on and you need something, and I mean, you can talk, I'm sure everyone talks to their loved ones who have passed. And I think that that's important too, because like I said, they're still around, they still exist. And I think that's an important factor, that if we remember that and we move forward, they're moving forward with us and they want us to succeed. And maybe they're giving us, something along the way, and we may or may not even realize it. But if I think you stay open, you pay attention, you acknowledge them like, the callers did, I think that's really huge. And yes. I think that's something people need to remember.
Yes. And I think that's why we have the program, is that the show is that we know we can talk with each other without having it reduced to insignificance and meaninglessness. And I must say that when I was still teaching at the college, when the deaths occurred, and the people were so loving and helpful in any way they could be, but I knew that I wouldn't be successful in telling them, the experiences that I was having. I did a couple of times and I was unsuccessful, and that can kind of throw you, and but it's not their fault. It's just that that's the frame of mind that we have been brought up in. And if we're at the university, we're having it strengthened every day, and just never seeing anything that is beyond matter. So, and I think many of them were open to some way about it, but I knew I couldn't talk about it. They just wouldn't have known what to do with it. So we're here, and we can talk together and know that won't happen, because that's a real killer. Someone demean it, devalue it, reduce it. And it's so important. I think the German poet Goethe mentioned that, and I have seen it over and over again, that if you have a vision or you have a dream, something of significance, when you tell it to someone else, you intensify its energy, just as if you held a magnifying glass to a leaf, or a piece of paper and let the sun come in. Is that telling it is like using a mirror to get the sun to come in. That telling it is bringing the sun in. It intensifies it tremendously. I mean, its actual energy is released by telling it to someone near it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's true, Betty. I agree with that. I think it does. It intensifies the energy, and I think that was beautiful how you said that.
Well, yeah, it was Goethe. I'm just cooking him. He was very, very much, man of his time. He was way beyond his time in understanding that there is something so beyond what we've been taught to think and to believe. But yes, the telling or sharing them with someone, through love, through friendship and appreciation, it really intensifies it, and it becomes almost like an entity in and of itself.
Right. Well, and we have to honor the emotion that comes with all of it. And, we talk about, our loved ones, and, you move forward, or you have an experience, but the emotion can be really heavy, and you can be doing really good. You can be going through life and all of a sudden, boom, something hits you and you're like, whoa, what just happened? And I think that sometimes that emotion has a certain vibration too that brings the loved ones around. And, it's like you'll get this extra feel. And I always think about that when, if you're talking to a loved one, you're doing a reading and that energy is coming through and it feels different. A lot of times I try to just focus in on that energy, so if you feel loved ones around and you don't feel like maybe you're not getting exactly what they're trying to show you, but you just feel that energy, try to zoom in, close your eyes or sit down or just relax and just feel, what am I feeling right now? Or what are they trying to send me? Is it simply, are they sending love, which is humongous, or are they sending comfort? And if you feel something out of the ordinary, stop and think, well, why would that be? Why am I feeling that? And then go with it and be like, well, I think they are showing this because this is going on in my life right now. This is what's happening. And maybe they're there for me in a way that I didn't realize, but because now I'm settled down and I'm calm or I'm quiet, I can tune into that more. And then you can kind of go with that and see where it takes you. And that can kind of give you a big boost in life. You know, I mean, all of a sudden, you know, after that, you're like, all of a sudden you have all this energy and you're wondering why, what's going on. And it's like, maybe they just gave you that extra little kick you needed that you didn't even realize. And it doesn't matter, you know, why. It just matters that you felt it and they came through.
Exactly. I was telling Kim, I woke up this morning remembering when I was in graduate school, and there were several women. We were kind of connected together to hold down our rights in graduate school. So they came over for dinner. They wanted me to cook a Hungarian dinner. So I did. And so my son was little. He was maybe 5 or 6, something like that. And he had these little fitted red and white striped jammies on. And I said, well, you can play in your room just while we eat. And he had his bears there, and then he came in, and of course they all, you know, how darling he was and everything. And I remember just picking him up and holding him, and that wave of that incredible love and that I had for him. I just had to say out loud, oh, I loved you so much. But I thought, well, you know, just those images coming, that's a way too of connecting. You know, it's not just a random image coming. It's remembering times when you could just express that love so fully, you know, when they're little and feel it so much. And they express it. You can both be so without reserve and expressing that love. And it just, I think that's also something, the images that connect us, you know?
Right.
Very important.
Well, I think that, you know, the stories are important, Betty and Kim. And I know, like in Bob Ginsberg's book, Bob Ginsberg, his book, The Medium Explosion, which, yes, I have stories in there, but there are a lot of stories in there that are also comforting. It's kind of like tonight's show. There's things that, you know, coming from different angles, from different mediums. And I think they kind of give you a good idea. And I think that that's something too that might be good. You know, people might be interested in reading if they're listening now. And I was just thinking of that because I came across something with I think it was one of Doreen Malloy's stories. She has one in there that it just hit me really hard one day. And I was like, okay. And I thought, you know, that would be something good. I want to mention on the show because, yeah, I mean, yes, Bob is the co-founder of Forever Family Foundation, but I like the book because it does give different stories from different mediums in different angles. And it's just like the show it's people, you know, giving stories, sharing stories. And it just kind of reminds you of this connection we all have, and that we all feel this. We all have our feelings, our emotions, and we all have all these things happening. But I think that it just kind of, when I was reading it the other day and I thought, this is good. I got to bring it up. So I wanted to just mention that too.
That's really good. So it's The Medium Explosion, right?
The Medium Explosion by Robert Ginsberg.
It does have some real knockout stories. Yeah,
it really does. It's kind of cool. So I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that as well. He didn't plug it or anything. I'm just plugging it for him because I like it.
Well, that's why we would do that.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, there's a lot of great books out there. And that's the other thing that's really amazing is there's so many opportunities. Betty, you have great books. I have bookmarks all over your second book. I mean, it's on my shelf and I pull it out and I'm looking at it and I'm like, ooh, I like this bit too. And I'll throw that in on one of our Thursdays. So that's great. But no.
It is
that time, Kim?
I think it's that time, Janet.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead then and I'll say the Mahayama prayer. So I hope everyone's listening to hear this. It's may all beings everywhere with whom we are inseparably interconnected be fulfilled, awakened, liberated, and free. May there be peace in this world and throughout the entire universe, and may we all together complete the spiritual journey. And that's it for tonight.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night,
for
everybody.
Us.
Thank you so much.
Be well and join us again next month.
Bye.